So, hello everyone. Sorry for my Spanish. Hablo un poquito español.
Se llama Stanislav, trabaja pues para Jeeper y bueno, pues hoy tiene el gusto de presentarnos todos estos champanes.
So today we will try a good selection of Jeeper. The wine you have in your glass is a blend of Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. As you know, in Champagne we use 99% of the vineyard is made with Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. Signature of Jeeper is the Chardonnay aged in oak barrels. In all our cuvées we use a certain proportion of Chardonnay aged in oak. A bit more about the story of Jeeper. First of all, the name Jeeper is from the Jeep, the car, because before the Second War, it was a guy called Armand Goutorbe who was producing champagne. And during the war, the Second War, Mr. Goutorbe used to be in contact with the US Army. Decided to offer him a Jeep as a gift to thank him for his loyalty, for his help. And then Mr. Goutorbe was driving his Jeep and everyone was calling him Mr. Jeeper, Mr. Jeeper. Because you know, in the past, at this time, it wasn't common to have a Jeep. You know, Jeep was, nobody has a Jeep. You know, in France, we have a Renault, Peugeot, Citroën, but no Jeep. Jeep is American. After hearing, it's a good idea. I'm gonna change the name to Armand Goutorbe. You know, it's difficult to say for you, even for me. To Jeeper. In 2008, Nicolas Dubois bought the company because Mr. Goutorbe retired. So for the first one,
Vamos a empezar con el Extra Brut.
60% Chardonnay, 25 Pinot Nero. So the Chardonnay is for the finesse, the elegance. The Pinot Noir is here for the structure, and the Pinot Meunier is for the roundness in your mouth. You know, there is 3 different grapes because each grapes bring a certain characteristic. Bring fino bubbles. 4 years aging. In Champagne, you know, by law, you need to age a minimum 15 months before being allowed to sell the champagne. And the more you wait, the bubbles get tiny and fine. So now we will go for the Blanc de Blanc. It's kind of the signature, I like to say, of the house. Chardonnay is a white grapes and we use only Chardonnay to make it. The aging in barrels, it's average, it's 2 years. In terms of barrels, we are using 2 kind of barrels. Either ex-Burgundy barrel, which is 228 liters, and the other one is a bigger barrels. New, we buy it new, it's 600 liters barrel. And you know, there is more wine, so less contact with the oak. There is vintage in Champagne, but like 80% of the total Champagne is non-vintage. How we do to make a non-vintage and having the same taste almost every year. We use between 50 to 60% of the wine from the year, but there is also, let's say, 20% from 2018 and 20% from 2017. You know, in the nose you can smell much more oakiness style. It goes perfectly with a fish, for example, or the white meat. And here the dosage it's 7 grammes. Between 0 to 6 it's extra brut. Between 7 to 12 it's brut. Here it's very 7. So we are just at the beginning of Brut. Champagne, the vineyard is 34,000 hectares. And Jeeper, we work on 90 hectares. It's spread out all over Champagne. We work on 256 different parcels. Each terroir brings a different flavor to the wine. In Champagne, you classify the vineyard in 3 different 3,000 hectares for Autre Cru, classique, 3,000 hectares for Premier Cru, and 1,000 hectares for Grand Cru. The difference is the quality of the soil, the exposition to the sun. Bottle of Jeeper has a specific shape. The idea of these bottles at the beginning was for plain company. The neck is very short and thin, which is different compared to classic champagne bottles, which allowed us, when we fill up the bottles, there's almost no air in the bottle. So which allowed us to put less sulfite. It's better for the headache. To put at maximum the little proportion of sulfite. We use our own yeast. The wine, basically, for the rosé, it's 88% Chardonnay and 12% of red wine. We make a white wine and a red wine and we mix it together. In France, Champagne is the only appellation allowed to mix red and white in order to make a rosé. It's the base of the Blanc de Blanc with 12% of red wine. 40% de Chardonnay in Barrica. The rest is from the current vintage and 12% of the red wine. To stabilize the color, we mix these 8 different vintages of red wine. With food pairing, with dessert, I love the chocolate. Here there is no Chardonnay and no aging in oak. It's 65% Pinot Noir and 35 Pinot Meunier. No aging in oak, 3 years aging in bottles. When we make the blending, we try all the different barrels and everything that we have in stock. After trying, we make the blend. We have to select the different parcels. When we put the wine in the bottle, plus the yeast and the sugar, After 1 month, basically, we have the bubbles are created. At the beginning, I said that, you know, the more you wait, the more the bubbles get tiny, elegant, and fine. The best pairing for me is with meat, with red meat. And the dosage is 5 grammes. Written as a brut, but it's an extra brut. Biologic. It's really grapes and only the grapes. It's biologic, so there is no pesticide, no herbicide, nothing. No sulfites and no sugar. It's from biologic vineyards. There is no oak aging. We decided to make a cuvée. 60% Chardonnay, 40% Pinot Noir. Aging in bottles, it's pretty old. 7 years aging in bottles. There is no sense to keep the bottle forever in your cellar. It's not like the red wine. The red wine, okay, you can keep it for a long time in your cellar. It's interesting. Champagne, you can keep it for 1-2 years, but 10 years, there is no sense because the champagne age as long as there is the yeast inside. When there is no more yeast, there is no sense to keep it. This extra brut with some oysters is wonderful. And now for the last one, the new baby. There is the classic one. There is also the big one. Inside the bottles, it's 65% from Grand Cru, 35% from Premier Cru. We use different glasses because we wanted to show the wine. You know, on the parcels, basically there is 8,000 plants. 1 plant, 1 bottle, roughly. Each plant has a different sugar level, maturity. So we wanted to make a specific cuvée with a specific selection of grapes. In this bottle, only the plants producing between 1 kilo of grapes and 1,5 kilo of grapes. 10 years old aging from 2013, almost a vintage, but we add 5% of 2014. So no sulfite, no sugar, just the wine, the grapes, aged, vinified in barrels, aged a little bit in barrels as well, and after aged 10 years in bottles. But this champagne, this one with everything, basically.
How many years have the vineyards?
Let's average 30 years, 35 years. But there is some who has 10 years, there is some who has 50 years. We have now the new, we just released it 2010. So basically we were waiting for 14 years because the wine was still too fresh. So the next vintages will be 2010. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy. And you are, as I said, you are welcome in Champagne whenever you want.